July 12th, 2026. Jim was in 3 accidents, 2 of them before the death of Yuta Maria Seiler, I believe, and 1 of them after. It could be 1 and then 2. So, the first accident that occurred, I believe that was January 2022. He said he had just hit a curb, but he was driving back and forth to Sacramento, I believe, to see a woman. I believe. Or he was driving around. I don't know where he was, what he was doing. Point is he came with a fender bender, and he said, oh, I accidentally hit a curb. 3 times he said he hit a curb. Now, obviously, that was car tampering, because my cars were tampered with multiple times. It's just that I did regular daily maintenance on my cars, and I knew when they were having issues, so I would continue to monitor. For example, they took out my transmission fluid. I monitored that. Sometimes they tried to put something in the gas, so I would intentionally drive. I would only put enough gas in so that I used the amount of gas that was required to get me from point A to point B. Because if I put more in, they would put something in it that would damage my engine. Or they would put diesel in it so that there would be smoke out of the back, and people would know that that was my vehicle, because that was their signal. Oh, that one has smoke, that one's the one that's targeted. That's another way that they target individuals. They'll put diesel inside of your gas-using car, like unleaded. They'll mix it with that. So you have to either take it all out, which is an expense and it's work if you do it yourself, or you can just use the gas until it's completely empty, and then pour a new batch in. But it seemed like they attempted to get my father for whatever had happened or whatever was in the process, and since Jessica, Justin were already participating with the whole group, the whole foundation that was orchestrated on using us for profit. I guess they were looking for life insurance from him. He was the oldest, and they couldn't get him, so they decided to go after Yuta Maria Seiler because she was the weakest target, because she was already in intensive care. And then after her inheritance was redirected, instead of back to Germany to her family or to her will and testament to her kids, it was redirected to England, to somebody who was impersonating somebody that was in the Ministry of Refugees, let's just say that. And then once that was found out, that she had given, that her last will and testament was given to her children, then they started being targeted. And I was the first that was targeted 3 months later when they attempted to do the exact same thing with my vehicle, and I actually did have a car accident. And I believe I did die, and because everybody was a part of this foundation of utilizing Yuta as well as myself for spiritual reasons and for profit, while we bared the brunt of being broken because we couldn't keep finances, and since Yuta didn't work, it was easy to do her, but since I worked, it was a target on my back for messing with my work and my housing. But then they attempted that with me, and my medical was supposed to last that day that I had the accident, but they refused to pay, so because I was still a commodity, they decided to use the life insurance policy that they were going to use after I was dead to actually save my life. And then once I got out of the hospital, even though I needed 8 months to recover with a broken and fractured neck, they continued to use me for human trafficking. Because, I just wasted $1 million. Not that for the last, 36 years I was already being trafficked. I'm pretty sure you made more than $1 million off of that. So, and I was still able to work and not know what was going on. It was hid from me for quite a while. I'm just going to say that. But yeah, I'll just say this last part, is that was the weird part. It was tampering with the cars. I knew my cars were tampered with, especially my Mitsubishi, because it had a dual clutch, and its transmission was very sensitive to alterations with the oil and with the gear exchange. And I could tell that I needed to do something with the transmission, but I didn't have the money because of what was happening, and I didn't have the time. And then the day I decided I was going to do it, my car actually finally decided to crash the transmission, so I wasn't able to do anything with it. And then when I had $800 with the opportunity to possibly do something, my $800, instead of my buddy who is automotive to help me, used the money for himself to get nice new clothes.